She was asked by the BBC in 2013 about how to deal with racism in America. Her answer: people need to die.
As long as people can be judged by the color of their skin, the problem's not solved. As long as there are people who still, and there's a whole generation, I say this, I said this, for apartheid South Africa, I said this for my own, community in the South. There are still generations of people, older people, who were born and bred and marinated in it, in that prejudice and racism, and they just have to die.
On policy, we don't know much. We do know she believes in gun ownership with increased background checks. She also has straddled the fence on immigration, saying we need a path to citizenship and strong law enforcement at the border. So would Oprah be a threat to President Trump? And what does this say about the state of the Democratic Party to draft their own celebrity billionaire? Here to discuss, Director of Urban Development at Turning Point USA, Candace Owens, and civil rights attorney Leo Terrell. All right, ladies first. Candace, what do you think about Oprah? Is she a threat?
I think she is a pretty natural progression in the Democratic game of identification politics. I do not deem her a threat whatsoever, no.
Well, she is be a self-funder. She's got very high favorability ratings. The media would love her. They'd propel her candidacy pretty aggressively. That's got to be an advantage, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a similar advantage that Hillary had, and it didn't exactly work out for her.
Well, she has a lot more charisma, Leo, than Hillary Clinton. I think we can't agree on much, you and I, Leo, but I think we can all agree that Oprah has charisma oozing out of her pores. You probably would love to see Oprah in the race, would you not?
Oh, sure. You asked Candace a very straightforward question. Is she a viable candidate? Here's the answer: yes. And you failed to mention all the praise a guy named Donald Trump has laid on Oprah. He claims she's a great person. Oprah has likability. In the last 24 hours, Donald Trump doesn't have that. That is why Donald Trump fears Oprah. Oprah is well-liked. The crooked Hillary comment can't be applied to Oprah. Yes. She has associated
Leo,
herself
I would
with some
say
people.
that she's a likable person. I would agree with that.
Very
but
likable.
Once you step into the realm of politics, your likability goes down about 20 points, and half the country hates you, Candace. So, knowing what we do know about Oprah, and you heard what I said at the top, she seems to like to straddle the issue. I don't think she's far left, but, she seems pretty mainstream. What my concern is, I don't know what her policy would be on ISIS, on North Korea, on unfair trade practices in China. Does she know enough to be president?
I don't think the Democratic Party cares so much what she knows. They think about what she represents, which is, simply put, a distraction from the fact that the Democratic Party brought us slavery, they brought us the KKK, they brought us Jim Crow laws. It is just another guise, another ploy for them to distract voters by saying, look, it's a black woman. Don't pay attention to all of the dirt of everything that we have done to put black people down. I'm not convinced. Trump 2020 for me.
Okay, that's an interesting point, Leo. Respond to that, but also respond to the fact when you do nominate a female or a minority, it definitely insulates them from a lot of criticism. And the candidate, whoever runs against that person, has to be very careful, because if you say anything that can be construed as sexist or racist, they will just get pounded. That has to be an advantage for Miss Winfrey.
Excuse me, I just saw an election last year. First of all, let me address Candace's comment. See, she cannot attack Oprah, so she goes back and gives us a historical perspective about the Democrats, the KKK, and the 60s. We're not talking about that. We're talking about 2020. Now, let me be as clear as I can. Oprah is a viable threat. You know why? That TV show that you mentioned she had, that played very well in Kansas, in Oklahoma. Middle America loves Oprah, and that's Donald Trump's biggest fear. What's not being mentioned is this: Donald Trump didn't have any political experience, and Donald Trump surrounded himself allegedly with some good people.
The only thing I would say to that, Leo, in terms of Donald Trump's political experience, he'd been writing and speaking publicly about policy and politics for 3 decades in New York. So I don't know if Oprah's been doing that. She's been doing a lot on cooking and on books and feeling good. But you know what? I don't want to put her down, because I do agree with you, Leo. I do agree that she has a big appeal to people in Middle America, especially
Oklahoma,
women.
Kansas.
especially women. Now, I want to
Yes,
get to
she
something
does.
else first.